Welcome back everybody to the Ultimate Breakdown here on Keenan K TV. In today's video, let us take a closer look at the rematch between Badr Hari and Rico venhoeven. In this video, I will be giving you guys the tale of the tape, my own personal fighter cards that I created, a full breakdown of the fight, and then at the end, I will tell you guys who I believe will win come fight night. So, with that being said, let's jump right into the video.
Badr Hari, Badr Hari, it's a bad boy. Badr Hari, Badr Hari, Badr. It's a bad boy. Veel mensen vinden me een bad boy, sommigen vinden me een fat boy. De echte geven respect boy. Dus voordat je me test boy, pak zeep en spoel je bek boy. En doe maar relax boy. Wat wil je doen? Fok de roem. De mensen weten dat ik ben een kampioen.
Starting off with the tale of the tape, the challenger Badr Hari stands in at 6 foot 5 inches tall, weighing in at 110 kilograms. Hari is 35 years old and has a professional record of 106 wins with 13 losses and 1 no contest. His opponent, the reigning and defending Glory Heavyweight Champion of the World, Rico venhoeven, is also 6 feet 5 inches tall. He weighed in at 118 kilograms and is currently in his prime years at just only 30 years old. He has a professional record of 55 wins and 10 losses, and has been undefeated for the past 4 years. Now with the tale of the tape out of the way, let us take a closer look at my own personal fighter cards. Starting off with the golden boy Badr Hari, he has an overall rating of 88, having 86 speed, 95 power, 87 defense, 87 chin, 94 stamina, and 85 heart. As we know, Badr Hari is 35 years old, and if we're going to take a look at him in his prime, we're obviously going to be seeing a way better version of himself. Currently, it looks to be harder for him to keep and retain muscle mass, and he seems to be slowly decline in physical abilities. If we're going to compare a prime Badr Hari circa 2009-2010, we're going to be seeing that overall he was just better in every aspect. But switching over to the champion Rico venhoeven, we're going to be seeing that he has an 89 overall rating with 85 speed, 90 power, 89 defense, 90 chin, 95 stamina, and 88 heart. Rico venhoeven is a very well-rounded fighter, but I would have to say that when it comes to his skill sets, he's very fundamentally sound and he doesn't really stand out in any particular area of fighting. What he does have, however, is supreme level fitness, stamina, and just the ability to take a hit, still be there, and keep up consistent pressure for 5 rounds straight. Now with these fighter cards, I would have to say that both fighters still are very evenly matched. I believe that Badr Hari has been training very well for the style that Rico venhoeven has, and I believe out of the two, Badr Hari can only do better than what he did in his last fight with venhoeven. But with that being said, let's take a closer look at the full breakdown of this fight. venhoeven versus Hari, the rematch, right now is a very evenly matched fight. We have Badr Hari, who is obviously on the decline of his career. He's 35 years old, hasn't really been active for the last good amount of years, while Rico venhoeven has always been consistently fighting, only taking off the majority of this year in 2019. Other than that, he has been fighting at least twice a year, every year, and retaining his title in pretty convincing fashion. Now, Badr Hari right now, I would have to say that coming back after the fight with Rico against Gerges, I didn't really like what I saw in Hari. He was looking flat. He came in at 108 kilograms, right? Compare that to the 114 kilograms that he weighed in for the first time that he fought Rico venhoeven. He did not look, in my opinion, strong physically. He was unable to, tough it out in the clinch and manhandle and grapple against Gerges all too well. But obviously, he was the more technically sound fighter and he was able to outpoint the opponent very well on him. He at least had that to fall back on. But I believed if he came in with the shape that he came in against Rico venhoeven, I think that he could have made that fight a lot more easier on himself. However though, after that fight, Badr Hari and Gerges both got suspended for using PEDs. So as soon as the suspension date was given, which was in December, Badr Hari was immediately booked at the end of that suspension to fight Rico venhoeven. But between that time, a year, more than a year has passed, and looking at Badr physically, even at this current weigh-in, yes, sure, he did come in my opinion, in better shape than than what he did against Gerges, weighing in at 110 kilograms with a tracksuit and shoes on, by the way. So maybe he's just right under that 110 kilogram mark. However though, what I'm trying to say is that physically speaking, he's not as muscular and not as strong as he was going into the first Rico Verhoeven fight. And that, in my opinion, will play a big key component in this matchup. Badr Hari, if he's going into a fight and the opponent is significantly stronger than him physically, that can really overwhelm his technicality inside the ring. We saw it against Sammy Schild, we saw it against Alistair Overeem in their first fight, and against Rico Verhoeven, we somewhat saw that as well at the end of the first round and somewhat of the opening of the second round. Now, what I saw, in my opinion, was just the fact that Rico Verhoeven, physically speaking, genetically, he's a very, very strong guy. His legs are very big, his back is just muscular, big arms, everything that just screams natural, very big, consistent heavyweight. And if you're going to take a look at Badr Hari throughout these years, his physique has always fluctuated. Against Overeem in the first fight, he came in flat. Boom, in the rematch, he's muscular, right? In this matchup, he did not come in bigger than what he was in the first fight. Now, this can either mean two things. Number one is Badr Hari is trying to come in light so he can be moving on the outside better and picking Rico apart, which can be a pretty sound strategy. Or it just means that right now, after the PED suspension, the testing has become stricter. Plus his age, it could also mean that he's just unable to retain as much muscle as he once used to. That could be the second one. Or it could be just a mix of both, right? However, I can say that the most balanced and the safest argument to make is to assume that it is just a little bit of both. You may say, Keenan, why is it such a big problem? Why is it such a big key component in this matchup? Well, as we saw in their first fights, Badr Hari from the opening of the fight was instantly the way better technical kickboxer. From his leg kicks, front kicks, body shots, hooks, jabs, everything was just in Badr's favor. Having a longer reach, Badr's jab was just something that, in my opinion, Rico Verhoeven wasn't really able to deal well against. He was closing in the distance with a pretty static guard and, good head movement and good defense, guarding up very well, walking Badr Hari down. And with that type of a strategy, a fighter like Badr Hari was not really able to crack the opponent. If he can't crack him, he's going to be starting to output a lot more, right? He's going to be doing a lot more. And as a result of it, with the weight that he came in at, like 114 kilograms, which is a lot, right? That probably tired him out. And by the end of the first round, you can already tell that punches didn't really have the sting that they needed to keep Rico Verhoeven off of him. And Rico simply had to just wait it out, right? He still has 5 rounds. Between the two fighters, in my opinion, Badr Hari has never went 5 rounds. I could be mistaken, but I believe it has only been a glory thing to have 5-round kickboxing championship fights. And Rico Verhoeven has had plenty of them. So out of the two, Rico Verhoeven in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, he is going to be still there. And if it is a pretty monotone fight, then we can just assume that the pressure will just accumulate round after round after round. And damage will also accumulate on Badr Hari. Given the fact that he's also getting older, being able to take damage is going to be very much so decreasing over the years and as you age. But in this matchup, the 5 rounds could also play in Badr Hari's favor. The more time that Badr Hari has to prepare for this fight, the better that, in my opinion, he will be pacing himself to go 5 rounds. He obviously said that he wanted to knock Rico Verhoeven out, but that is not really going to be happening, in my opinion, and he knows it himself. So I believe he trained to go 5 rounds and to completely just out kickbox him, essentially. We know that Badr Hari has the faster hands. We saw it already in the first fight. What we need to see in this fight is Badr Hari standing his ground a little bit more. If he continues to fight on the outside, round after round, second after second, minute after minute, he will become predictable. And that is not what you want against a very dangerous kickboxer like Rico Verhoeven. Unlike boxing, you cannot really simply just tie up the opponent when you're on the outside as the opponent is coming in, right? You can't do that, because if you're on the outside in kickboxing, you have leg kicks, you have body kicks, head kicks, you have everything, knees. So outside fighting is not as effective as it is in boxing and kickboxing. Now the question will then be, how long can Badr Hari cement his own ground, keep his feet firmly planted in the middle of the ring, and make Rico Verhoeven fight on the outside? We haven't really seen Rico Verhoeven implement a style where he has to be on the outside all the time. Maybe the last fight that he had to really do this was against Jamal Ben Sadiq, because Jamal Ben Sadiq was very good at catching the body kicks of Verhoeven and then slipping in his right straight. And I believe Badr Hari is a lot more defensively responsible and has just a lot more variation in how he can counter Rico Verhoeven. In the first fight, we did not really see Badr get hit at all, really. Maybe he got hit with a body kick, right? Maybe leg kick. He sure did get hit with one good right hand, but that was about it. So what I'm trying to say is, defensively, Hari is very responsible, and Rico Verhoeven's best defense is his offense. And if Badr Hari can go in there and make Rico Verhoeven fight defensively, then that can become very, very problematic for Verhoeven. He will be getting himself into trouble because he's always trying to come forward, right? Always trying to close the distance, always trying to pressure. But if Hari is pressuring him, then where does he go? And with the hand speed and combination punches that Badr Hari has, Rico could really get outworked in those scenarios. But in the end, how do I think the fight will play out? And who do I think will win come fight night? In this fight, the rematch, I will be going with Rico Verhoeven by knockout. The reason as to why I'm going with Rico Verhoeven is because, objectively speaking, Rico Verhoeven is currently in his physical prime, whereas Badr Hari is not. Badr has had over 100 fights in kickboxing, has lost by knockout here and there, but just in general, he has just a lot of mileage on his body. And looking at him physically, he seems to be deteriorating year after year. And sure, technically speaking, Badr Hari would have easily beaten him, in my opinion, if they were both in their primes. That's just something that I could see. But right now, at this stage of Badr Hari's career, after 3 years from their first fight, I highly doubt that the rematch should have happened in 2019. I thought that they should have immediately rematched, but hey, it is what it is, right? So because of those reasons, I will be going with Rico Verhoeven. I believe that the pressure, the consistent pressure that he will put on Badr Hari will, at least in the beginning of the second round to third round, really settle in, especially if this fight goes to the fourth round. I could see Rico Verhoeven putting the pressure on Badr Hari. He will be setting him up beautifully, and I believe that he could really catch him and drop him. And when he does drop him, I believe that Badr Hari's corner will probably throw in the towel, or Badr Hari will probably get counted out. That's the way I see this fight playing out, and that's why I believe Badr Hari will be losing against Rico Verhoeven in the rematch. However, these are only my thoughts, my speculations, because in the end, I don't really know what is going to be happening. I can only assume what I can, because in the end, only time will tell what will truly happen. For now, I have been Keenan from Keenan KTV, signing off. Later. After getting disqualified by hitting Remy Banyaski while he was down, Badr Hari had returned to face MMA's own Alistair, the Reem Overeem. It seemed like Overeem had no place fighting against the elite of the kickboxing world, and that was exactly what Badr Hari was thinking also. Undermining his opponent Overeem, Hari paid the brutal price for it. Getting overpowered by the massive Overeem, Alistair got hit with a crashing knee and a devastating hook right behind it. This sent Hari down to the mat, and as soon as Hari got back up from the knockdown, Overeem quickly rushed forward and laid Hari out flat with a powerful hook that knocked Hari out cold. In the rematch, Hari felt embarrassed that he lost against an MMA fighter and took the rematch very seriously, gaining solid pounds of muscle and bulking up to match the strong Overeem. Before the fight, he promised Overeem that he would not be able to make it out of the very first round.
Get through the first fight against Teixeira, then I promise that he won't make it 2 until 3 minutes in the kickboxing ring with me this time. So when they met again in the ring, immediately we saw the bigger Hari sitting down on his punches and meeting Overeem in the middle of the ring. As they were exchanging punches, Badr caught Overeem with a sharp hook that dropped him and put him flat on his face. With this knockdown, Badr smelled blood and he went in for the kill. As the hurt Overeem was trying to recover, Badr chaining up a combination together that ended with a beautiful high kick made the fight come to an end, as Badr Hari had TKO'd Alistair the Reem Overeem, avenging his most popular defeat. And with this win, the Badr Hari vs Overeem saga is still one of the most infamous sagas in the entire sport, and one which frankly will never be forgotten. If you enjoyed this video and want to see a part 2 made on this, be sure to write it down in the comment section down below and subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I have been Keenan from Keenan KTV, signing off. Later.